Well, welcome to Simon NoChaNoMa, Simon's living room. Hello, alas. Glad you're here. I was beginning to wonder, for me, just talking to myself again. Despite all appearances, this rather sort of healthy-looking complexion here, I'm not feeling too brilliant. I've been like dozing off throughout the day, and had to go to the toilet too many times for my liking, that sort of thing. So we'll see how it goes with this particular live stream. But anyway, that's too much information probably. But if I suddenly decide I've got the lurgy and have to go, that'll be the reason. So anyway, what's it all about? Nice and spicy. Well, it's about the fact that I went to see Dune 2. Say that when you've had a few. And I'm not having a few because I want to keep a clear head and stay awake. But anyway, Dune 2, the second in the series of reimaginations of the Dune story by Frank Herbert, science fiction author. It was originally released in book form in 1965. And has since, gone on to be in sort of the public consciousness. I don't know whether it has actually, because it's what's known as kind of like hardcore sci-fi. And I was watching Radri on his Twitch stream yesterday, and he was asking me about it, and he said he's not quite so sure because he's not a big fan of hardcore sci-fi. But sci-fi is just a medium for which to transfer ideas. Albeit with wobbly aliens and fantastic spaceships and planets and God knows what and hyper technology, but it's all underneath. It's a drama. Did somebody in the empty cinema give me their germs? I don't know. I had to drop my air conditioning in my car is broken, so I drove all the way there and all the way back with the windows open. So and on the way there, I don't know. Maybe somebody sneezed. You like sci-fi? All right. I like Wi-Fi. I like to do my sci-fi with my Wi-Fi. Yes, it's yes. So it's a metaphor, really. So what is it all about? Why is the big fuss? What's the big fuss about the new Dune films? Well, they're a long time coming. The first film was a long time coming, ever film that was made of it. That was back in 1984 by Dino De Laurentiis, and had big stars in it. And Brian Eno and Toto did the music. And it was, if you've ever seen Flash Gordon from 1981, you kind of get the vibe from that film there. They're very long films. Yes, there was an intermission. I put my lurgy actually down to sort of before the film started. I bought a box of popcorn, which sort of the first time this year ever that I've eaten popcorn in any quantity. Anyway, it wasn't a big box, but I ate it all before the film started because I got there a little bit early, and I thought, oh, I'll wait for the adverts, and the adverts kept going on and on and on, and I kept munching. So I polished all the popcorn off before the film started. So it could be something to do with that. But anyway, where were we? Yes, 1984, and I'll give you a bit of background to the story if you're not familiar with the Dune story. It's basically, it's set 20,000 years into the future. So there's all possibilities there. And amazingly, humanity hasn't become extinct, but they've spread like mold throughout the universe and populated habitable planets. And for thousands of years, they've been doing this and established an empire, a universe empire. And the only way they can get from one place to another without them all dying of old age because of time dilation and all that business is through folding space. Yes, this is where this sort of the MacGuffin comes in sci-fi stories. Yes, what would happen if we need to have a reason for this to all to kind of take place, and it's theoretically impossible, but we'll make it possible with the MacGuffin of folding space by eating a hallucinogenic drug found only on one planet in the entire universe. Flash. Yes. So bear in mind that this I've got a bit of introduction as to set up the story. I'm going to let somebody else do it so I can have a rest. This is the prologue from Dune 1984, which gives you a kind of introduction with, in my mind, some rather badly painted pictures of the history leading up to the events of Dune. So if you'll bear with me, I'll just pop that on the screen, add to the stage. There we are. Full screen. Make full screen. Okay. Right. So you can't see me. So this is some building on one of these planets, blah, blah, blah. I think that's Arrakis, which is the name, or otherwise known as Dune, the planet with the spice in the background there. So I'll just start this playing. How do I go there? Dune. Yes, start playing.
In the year 6041, before the reign of the Padishah emperors, the universe was ruled by thinking machines with human minds, computers, and conscious robots. The people deteriorated into a state of apathy.
Well, that's me entirely.
Then they became victims and slaves of other men with machines. Finally came the Great Revolt, the religious crusade against the machines.
Somebody was crucified on a hexagon, apparently 6,000 years in the future.
After the Great Revolt, human beings were forced to develop their minds. Thus, mental training schools were established. These schools would change the history of the universe. Only two of these ancient mental training schools remain. One is the Bene Gesserit School, which was established primarily for female students. The function of the Bene Gesserit School is to carry on a selective breeding program among humans. Now, the other existing school, the Spacing Guild, or the Guild, emphasizes pure mathematics. The Guild's space navigators, through the use of the orange spice drug, are able to fold space.
There you go, folding space.
That is, to guide spaceships without moving from one planet to another. It is through the Guild's monopolies on the economic life of the universe that makes it so powerful. Know, then, that it is the year 10,192. The known universe is ruled by the Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV. For many years, the Emperor Shaddam IV has ruled on planet Khitan, over all the great houses of the Landsraad. The great houses of the Landsraad are members of the royal families who rule or govern over the major planets of the universe, according to the ancient feudal system of government. Two of the great houses of the Landsraad are the House of Atreides on planet Caladan, ruled by Duke Leto Atreides, and the House of Harkonnen on the planet Giedi Prime, ruled by Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. In this time, the most precious substance in the universe is the spice melange. The spice extends life. The spice expands consciousness. The spice is vital to space travel. CHOAM Company controls the mining of the spice. The CHOAM Company is controlled by the Padishah Emperor, Shaddam IV, and the great houses of the Landsraad, with the Guild and the Bene Gesserit as silent partners. This combine is the key to the wealth and political power of the universe. It is the Emperor Shaddam IV who dispenses CHOAM directorships and contracts to the various great houses of the Landsrod. The Spice exists on only one planet in the entire universe. A desolate, dry planet with vast deserts. The planet Dune, also known as Arrakis. Up until this time, the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen has held a directorship from the Emperor Shaddam IV, giving him a contract to mine the spice on planet Arrakis. The Baron Vladimir, with his two nephews, the Count Raban and Fayed Harkonnen, live on the planet Gidi Prime. The planet Caladan is ruled by Duke Leto Atreides, cousin to the Emperor Shaddam IV. He resides in the ancient castle Caladan with the Bene Gesserit Lady Jessica and their son, the ducal heir Paul Atreides.
Well, there you go. You don't remember the original film? Well, it was a long time ago. I've got it here, actually. It's this probably like the entire film. we could watch it for 2 hours and you know, God knows what. But yes, basically, there you have. They're the main protagonists. House Atreides. These like it's all like kind of feudal and like we said, like Hamlet and Macbeth sort of thing in space. But it's quite interesting because it's the way it's handled, both in the rather clunky old 1984 film and the new ones. It's all about kind of the underlying political metaphors and power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and all that sort of business. So fairly old themes, but done rather well, I think. Yes, the new film, you know, kind of like the books are about 5 books, so and you've got 10,000 years to cover. So it could be Dune ad infinitum, because the first film stops at a certain point, inconclusively, which is what drove me to go and see the second film, and the second film stops inconclusively on the cusp of something, you know, terrible about to happen. Blah blah blah. It's a cliffhanger. Come back in 2 years. Get sick on popcorn again, and sit in an empty cinema and watch it. Just so you can say you've seen it. Yes, I'd look forward to it. Yes, it's a good film. Is there a third film? Well, there's like, I mean, they don't conclude. I mean, like I said, the story just goes on and on and on and goes into the backstory. There's been a miniseries. There was a miniseries in 2000 that covered it a little bit more detail as a sort of a prequel thing that goes back thousands of years before this all started, and also on like HBO Max or something like that, some kind of like streaming service. So it has rich potential for being exploited, just like the Spice. Yes, I think they were hoping they were riding on the back of the Star Wars like hype back in 1984, thinking yes, this would be this would be the way to do it. And they got in a director. Who was it? Okay, David Lynch. They got David Lynch of all people to direct the 1984 film, because he'd impressed somebody with Eraserhead, and they thought yes, Star Wars popular with children and everybody, and we're going to make millions if we do a film like it. Let's get a guy who makes a weird thing in black and white with like crawling abortions and chickens that bleed and a guy whose head comes off. All right, yeah, great. That'll work. You know. But yes, so they got him, and I was watching a kind of like an analysis of why they got him, and he was kind of just doing it to sort of you know, show that he could be hired, and hopefully he'd be let do his own thing in the future. And he went off to make things like, you know, Blue Velvet and all that sort of stuff. What's not to love about, you know, crawling abortions and bleeding chickens? Yes. Well, there's quite a lot of violence in Dune, but it's all kind of like spectacular actiony violence. and a few sort of not particularly gory bits, but sort of, you imagine more than you see, sort of gory. So don't worry if you're squeamish. There's not a lot to be squeamish about. There's not a lot of blood and guts or anything. And there's not a lot of naughty bits either. There's a romantic element in it where the main character, Paul Atreides, gets the hots in a dream for a woman on the Dune planet. And this is like a prophetic dream. And then he does meet her and they fall in love. And apparently have a child, but that's never shown in the film. It is in the books, but not quite sure. Well, perhaps there wasn't enough time. You have to wait 9 months, or something. But yes, another thing that I noticed in the films was that in the books, the main character's mother is actually not the genetic mother, or is not his father is not his genetic father, and let's put it that way. Robert, Blood and Guts is fine by you. Well, you'd be sorely disappointed, I'm afraid, with there's plenty of people's bodies flying all over the place, but not a lot of blood and guts. But anyway, yes, he's not the actual genetic son of his father, but his genetic father, his non-genetic father, sires a child with his mother. That is genetic related, but she's a girl and she grows exponentially quickly and is born and then grows even more exponentially quickly. And in the book, she's already an adult in about 2 or 3 years and manages to kill one of the bad guys, but that doesn't appear in the film for some reason. Yes, they take. I mean, if they try to cover quite a lot in the 1984 film. Apparently, there was a 5-hour version. But they had to trim it down to just nearly 3 hours. Basically, they got, this is great. These books are great. Let's do everything. But the new director sort of said, no, we're going to have this, that, and the other. We're going to change this, that, and the other. Yes. I might read the book. Depending on the writing style. If it's very sort of like. Sort of the sort of book you can get into, or whether it's very convoluted, then I don't know. 5 hours, yes. The director's cut. I don't think there's a copy of it or anything. There's this sort of this version, which is the extended version that I took that clip from, and it has some deleted scenes restored. But on the whole, it stays to the same length as the original release. But yes, I mean, if I could go to that film again, let's have a look. Just bear with me. I'll just see my face looking blank and me going quiet. That's me trying to find a bit in the film that might be enlightening or entertaining. From 1984. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Let's have a look at the main protagonist. Where is he? Right. It's not the most exciting scene, if I can find it. Yeah, here we go.
Know then that it is the year 10,190.
Gurney Halleck, a troubadour warrior, is companion and teacher to Paul Atreides. Dr. Wellington Huey, royal physician to the House of Atreides. He wears the diamond tattoo of imperial conditioning on his forehead. This signifies that he has had the highest conditioning against taking human life. Therefore, this makes him safe enough to attend to even an emperor.
Spicey is vital to space travel. The spacing view that
Among those who serve Duke Leto Atreides is Tufir Hawat.
This is a good example of why you should trim your eyebrows as you get older.
A Mentat is a human being who is trained and conditioned for supreme accomplishments of logic. A human computer to perform certain duties.
I know, Thufir, I'm sitting with my back to the door.
rotten planet entirely
I heard you, Dr. Yui,
vast desert.
and Gurney coming down the hall.
Damn fine cherry pie.
Could be imitated.
I'd know the difference.
Yes. Perhaps he will do that.
My father sent you to test me. Music, then?
No music. I'm packing this for the crossing.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Shield practice.
Shield
ball.
practice. Gurney, we had practice this morning. I'm not in the mood.
Not in the mood. Mood's a thing for cattle and love play, not fighting.
I'm sorry, Gurney.
Not sorry enough.
Here's a fantastic 1984 special effects. A la Tron.
What's wrong with Gurney? He's not faking this.
Now, guard yourself for truth.
I gotta hit you with my Lego. Minecraft, yes. This is where they got the idea for Minecraft from.
Is this what you seek?
Good. The slow blade penetrates the shield. But, look down. We'd have joined each other in death. You did seem finally to get the mood.
Would you really have drawn my blood?
If you'd have fought one whit below your abilities, I'd have given you a good scar to remind you.
Things have been so serious here lately.
Yes, and they're no longer going to be serious. I'm sorry. So I don't have any clips from the. I was trying to get some clips from the new film, but I don't want to give you too many spoilers, alas. But it's a completely different atmosphere. It's very 2020-ish. Yeah, shall I say? Very, much more cinematic. Yes, and there's no Minecraft in it. There are lots of incongruities. I mean, but you can forgive them. It's 10,000 years in the future. For 6,000 years, they were run by machines, and then they smashed all the machines, and they had to reinvent them all, presumably. So there's some kind of like inconsistencies. Like there's anti-gravity, which they all kind of use a lot, but don't seem to for like big spaceships or something. It's all they use rockets and stuff. It's all like a bit of a mishmash. Luckily, they don't drive around in cars, which they sometimes do in futuristic films set in the distant future, and they're still driving around in cars with wheels that are very obviously from the 20th century or the 21st century. But anyway, yes. So that was the main protagonist, Paul Atreides, who, as I said before, was not born of his father. Was born of a baddie that we discover about later on. But his mother is one of those Bene Gesserit witchy women, and there's all a bit of like fantasy element in it as well, because there's like the Force kind of mystical power, and he's got it, and he seems to have it more. And she's been outcast from her witch's coven kind of thing, because she gave birth to a boy, and they were supposed to give birth to girls who were supposed to be at some point in the distant future. They're breeding to produce a super being that's supposed to be female, but to all intents and purposes, it looks a little bit like this Paul chap might be this super being, because his powers are enhanced. Plus, he's been snorting a lot of spice, which is everywhere, like you saw in the advert. The spice, it's everywhere here. So then that enhances his abilities. He's the chosen one, yes, and that's one of the themes in the film. The sort of like the on this planet, this Dune planet, it's inhabited, even though it's just basically desert. It's inhabited by desert people who curiously look like Arabs. And they're all sort of speak with like Arab accents, and they're all kind of, there's a pseudo like Mohammedan Muslim sort of religion idea going on, and just so happens that this Paul chappie tends to sort of fit many of the signs of this, but he initially doesn't believe this. He thinks it's all a load of bollocks. I'll say it. he thinks it's all bollocks. He's not, even though he can do this special voice. I can't do a special voice. I can just do my voice, which will send you to sleep. But his voice will blow your head off, basically, if he does it properly. Yes, the bright blue eyes, that comes from eating the spice for some reason. The spice is red, but everybody gets blue eyes, and there's also those giant worms. We have to get to those later on. Yes, they're a sort of a native species of that planet, and have a lot to do with the spice. I think it probably is worm poop or something like that. Because they use sort of the blood of the worms to have an extreme hallucinogenic rite of passage thing that happens. So that's a bit weird. But anyway, this Paul, so he has his head screwed on in the beginning and realizes that, all this, like his family being lured to the planet to take over spice production and get slaughtered by their rivals who had been told to leave, and the rivals who'd been told to leave come back with the Imperial Army who've been given to them to help slaughter so it's it's a bit very Macbethy there. So only a handful escape, including him and his mother. So he's out for revenge and everything, and wants to be the Duke that his father used to be. Blah blah blah. But then when he discovers he's got all these abilities, the idea is that they're stuck on this planet, but there's all these natives who are living under the sand in grottos and stuff, and they're excellent fighters. Always have to be excellent fighters. And the idea was to sort of get them and fight against the Empire and blah blah blah, Star Wars-ish. But his girlfriend, who turns out to be one of these people, she doesn't believe it either. Apparently, the people in the north of the planet think sort of all this there's a sort of special messiah coming is also bollocks. But the people in the south of the planet all think it's true and very fervent and fundamentalist. They're called fundamentalist in the film, and basically this Paul chappie exploits that for his revenge. So he pretends, even though he's got these sort of strong abilities and is able to do all these sort of amazing things with his voice, and I can see the future and the past and everything. After eating spice, he kind of, it lets him go. It goes to his head. He dumps his girlfriend after defeating the Emperor. Because they lure the Emperor to the planet. And they wipe out the bad guys and hold the Emperor hostage. Say, I want to be now the new Emperor. I'm going to take your daughter's hand in marriage. Never mind my girlfriend over there. And so the sort of power goes to his head, sort of thing. And you'll see all that. Spoilers, sorry. But anyway, yes. I mean, that's in the book. If you read the book, or if you watch the entire 3-hour 1984 film, you'll get all that as well in sort of 1984 fashion. But yes, and the special effects are very good in the new film. No more shaky wobbly models and things. CGI is not too intrusive either. Yes, as one does when one has spice, power goes to the head. I'm managing quite well without any wine and just germs at the moment. The germs have gone to my head, and I'm holding forth. You don't mind spoilers? Oh well, yes. Well, one of the main spoilers for me was the fact that even though they do it in a tent early on in the film, she never gets pregnant and never has this child that appears in the book. This girlfriend from the desert. I just wonder sort of how they managed to keep the sand out. That's all. A bit gritty. And fluids. You can't lose any fluids in the desert on this planet. Every little, if you have a dribbly nose, you have to sort of lick it up, and so God knows. Yes, if you haven't seen it, Robert, see the first one first from 2021. Because it sort of it goes in it flows in an order. It's not a sort of standalone film really. But yes, there's scenes in the film with the worms. The worms are quite spectacular. In the what to do about the sand? Yes, yes. Can do a great job. Great trade in sandproof prophylactics, and now available on Arrakis. The only place in the universe everybody comes to Arrakis to get their condoms. No, it's Dune 4. Oh dear. Anyway, right, I'm going to leave you with a bit more film because I need to go and get a drink of water because my head is starting to sort of beat a little bit. So where were we? There he is. Wondering it's all going to be difficult. Difficult. Fight a rather clunky robot. Talk to his dad. Blah, blah, blah. There's the buddies. There's a old biddy who's one of the queen witches. Let's have a look. What's going on? Oh, right. This is the bit where he has to put his hand in the box. Ooh, misses. No. Right. Okay. You can watch this scene while I go get a glass of water.
Paul, this is very important. Remember, you are a duke's son.
Kwisatz Haderach, the super being. With a father, nothing.
This is the Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohim. She is going to observe you. Please.
Jessica, you know it must be done.
Your Reverence.
What does she fear? What about my father?
Paul, listen to the Reverend Mother and do what she tells you.
Oh, he's not done it yet then. I've just got my water. Oh, this is the voice.
In the voice. No.
Some strength there. Surprising.
Come here.
This is how I get my audience to see. I use the voice. Completely different to
You see
the
this?
voice on the BBC.
Put your right hand in the box.
Ooh, wow.
What's in the box?
Pain. Stop. Put your hand in the box. I hold at your neck, the gomja bark.
Don't pull away or you'll feel the poison.
The Duke's son must know about many poisons. This one kills only animals.
Are you suggesting a duke's son is an animal?
Let us say, I suggest you may be human. Your awareness may be powerful enough to control your instincts. Your instinct will be to remove your hand from the box. If you do so, you die. You will feel an itching there. Now, the itching becomes burning. Heat upon heat upon heat. Silence! Silence!
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I am permitted to pass over me and through me. I must not
Feel flesh.
use the mind killer. Crisping. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my
Flesh. Dropping off.
fear. Fear is the little death. I must not fear.
No woman, child, ever withstood that much. Take your hand out of the box and look at it, young human. Do it.
Got lovely nails. This what it was an ultraviolet nail box there. All right. Yes. So that scene also occurs in the 2021 film. Also similar like vibe to it. But yes, that's the tenet of the film. I read some quick notes, some sort of like study notes on the film, and it said it's depressing and kind of a downer kind of book. So be warned when you read it about humanity and about sort of the corruption of power and everything, because this witch woman, this Bene Gesserit, they've been planning for thousands of years to have this like super being. That's going to sort of rule the universe. So it's all a bit, yeah, kind of the copyright goblins of AI. Yeah, well, at least it's got real actors in it. I mean, this film and the new ones have got real actors. Not like Star Wars with Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia. You can now get that'd be good, wouldn't it? You know, kind of like a Princess Leia projection on your fridge. Oh right, the copyright goblins. Does it work that fast? Did it block it already? Did you not see that? That's curious. Oh dear, am I going out live? Did it work that fast? It's a big thing, probably. Yes. I mean, you know, are they picking up on what I'm saying? I should have called it, you know, something else. There was no need for that, eh? He's been a very naughty boy. I am not the Messiah. Yes, we're all individuals. I'm not. No, I mean the old Dune. It's the old Dune. You know, it's out of date. Can be, you know, used for any purposes. I mean, did that happen for you? Did it get blocked for you? Alas, I'm curious now, because otherwise they'll be sort of like, obviously the stream is still going because you're responding to me, so I'm still here. But I mean, are those bits sort of blanked out? You're back. What? Well, did I disappear? Oh right. That's curious. Now, I'm going to try it again and see what happens. Whether it was just a glitch in the system or whether it was because of playing the movie. Right. Let's go here. Let's find a cool scene. Blah, 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 blah. It's all dark. It's very dark. And the new film is a lot lighter. There's a lot of... Where's the worm? I want the worm. Yes. Excuse me, just bear with me while I zoom through. I'm looking for a worm. Why isn't... Yeah, the worms are sort of fairly necessary to the... But it's also dark. There's no daylight on this planet. No, there's a bit of daylight. Or just for the sake of daylight, let's have some daylight.
Jessica, our Reverend Mother is too old.
And my stream has been suspended.
She has been calling.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh dear. Am I back now? Right. Am I back? Oh, I might just have to do it. But yeah, I'm back now. Oh dear. So that was utterly pointless. It's possibly because I'm using YouTube and then using a screen share. Perhaps if I'd not, if I don't know, would it have picked up on it if I'd recorded those clips and played them as like video files? I don't know. And then it wouldn't have been able to go through the internet and sniff it out. Oh well. Well, this has been the Simon Tells the Story of Dune show. I suppose I'd talk about the new film now without giving too much away. Well, the new film picks up where the old film left off. Oh, what a surprise. And at this point, Paul Atreides is now firmly established with these Fremen, as they're called, these desert people. And they've been fighting against the baddies, destroying the spice. Their idea is to sort of disrupt the spice production and cause the Emperor to send his army to the planet so that they can then perform an attack and capture the Emperor. No, it's not woke. It's just like money. There's nothing. I mean, I wasn't cut off for saying, it's the biggest dispenser of prophylactics in the galaxy. I mean, or anything like that. So, I could be as rude as I like, but but it's not going to affect. Hello, did I hear a bell? I thought because my son's going out for a walk somewhere. So. Yeah. But anyway, yes. So where was I? Yes. So they do. There's lots of he learns how to ride a worm. That's not a euphemism. He does get on the top of a giant worm and ride it. He does in the old film as well, and that's quite spectacular special effects. But the new ones are sort of, there is CGI there, obviously, and it costs a bit less to make a CGI giant worm than it does to make a one made of rubber and foam and bits of metal. So and you don't want your best actor sort of falling off it. So they did some CGI worms, and they're used to effect in the story that it happens more, and there's more connection with the worms and the spice and the depth of the story. But I mean, the main theme, like I said, is power corrupts, and the illusion of there being a messiah. And one of the points I thought was interesting in the second film, when I saw it yesterday, was that Paul's girlfriend Chani, one of the Fremen, who doesn't believe in all this messiah nonsense, she says that it's basically, this is what keeps them as slaves and keeps them, stops them from rising up, because they're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to do anything until the chosen one comes, and in the meantime they're just getting oppressed and more oppressed and oppressed. He's not the messiah. No, he's a cheesemaker. Yes, so I've done fairly well. I've not passed out. My head is still a bit sort of like I could do with a nap sort of feeling. So yes, I'm a bit stuck there. I'll put some music on. That will soothe the savage breast. Who's got a savage breast that wants soothing? Right, coffee house jazz. There we go. Yes, do your worst with this. Copyright doesn't recognize jazz. It's too sophisticated for copyright. Look at that, no wine. How sad is that? No psychotropic drugs. Drugs on this show. I did for my Instagram post, because about half a dozen people like my Instagram adverts. It's always the same half a dozen people, Jenny Silver, all my guests, actually, basically all my former guests, or people that I met in Japan who still watch me. But But I always use the hashtags to see if I can get a bit more like traffic. And I was thinking, this morning after sitting on the loo with my phone, as you do, wondering, what tags can I use? And basically the themes of Dune. So I put in politics, hashtag war, and I thought, oops, no, I better not do that. God knows who's going to come and what traffic I'm going to get on my Instagram or come to the show. Put safe ones on, like YouTube, live stream, entertainment, and you're being entertained, hopefully, so that's good. And some people may watch after the event. If you're watching after the event and there's a few minutes here and there of blankness, not of the host, but on screen, it's because of copyright. They don't like me showing a film on my live stream without asking the permission of most of the people who are dead who made it, or Warner Brothers, probably. Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, there would be on the UK and on TV at the moment. Vote Dalek. Entertainment has occurred. Well, there, my mission has been accomplished. It only remains for me to switch off and go to sleep, basically, and get rid of this headache. But next week on the show, what are we next week? We're into July next week, aren't we? Hang on, calendar. Next week we're on the 6th of July. So, it's my sister's wedding anniversary. 2 days before that, I have to remember to send a card. Right. July the 1st tomorrow. All right, it's 30 days of September, October, June, and November. All the rest of 31 except February, which is blah 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 something, which it was this year apparently. It was a blah blah year, I think. I don't follow these things. They have to remind me at work. Simon, you do know it's a holiday tomorrow. Oh, all right, yeah. So, 1st of July. So 6th of July. So 6th of July on Simon NoChaNoMa. No idea. 2 weeks after that, or so, let's say that's 14. Yeah, I'll be in England. So there may be a live stream from England at some point. Depends how I feel and what the Wi-Fi is like. Will I do a Siffy Wi-Fi live stream from England in 2 weeks' time? Right, yes. I mean, I'm going to call it a day because I've run out of film, and I can't show clips that I thought I might be able to show. And my critic has not shown up in comments. I'll talk to her about that later. So she won't be able to criticise me anyway because there was nothing to see in terms of perhaps my interpretation of the film will impress somebody. But for now, thank you all for watching. I'm sorry to have to end sooner than usual, but I really, my head is like not so good. But thank you all for watching, and see you all again next week. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.